All right. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here. Especially sweet to see people in real time and whether your face is on the camera or not, feeling this sense of community here. And we extend that, hopefully, that feeling of being together and practicing with others, even if you're practicing with us at another time on this recording. And if I forget to say at the end, check the link down below to our upcoming New Year's retreat. Just a couple weeks away, but we often get last minute registrations and even day of registrations, it happens. So check it out. It's a beautiful retreat, last retreat of the year for True North Insight. So I was sharing with folks here that there was a lot of uncertainty about what I wanted to offer tonight, and it's so heartening to have defaults, to have like what's when not knowing is here, which is often in our lives, in daily life, not knowing what to do or what's needed, to kind of have your default practices that you've done enough times that it shows up and can be grounding and presencing. And so for me, one of those things is a cue that I often share here in when we're beginning our practice, which is back and down. So this felt experience and energetic experience of physically and energetically, mentally, emotionally resting back, landing back, because I find when that remembering happens, I'm often a little bit forward, leaning into the next moment, or shoulders are up and forward, and eyes are always forward. Um, what's next? What's next? Kind of energy. And just that little reminder of resting back. There's usually a physical reset that happens, but and with that, an energetic landing back into my body. Feels like to me going back to the spine. And it's often, even just resting back into a chair if you're on a chair. Um, and that's kind of something I often shows up through the day. Be helpful if it showed up even more often, may it be so. Um, and so I was reflecting with and exploring these different directions to that can be cues for practice. So for me, it begins with back, resting back. And with that, then comes down, back and down. The down cue or reminder or awareness, sensation is the direction of gravity. Is it the connecting to the touch points of the body with the earth, with the support that we're on, whether it's whatever, floor, chair, couch, etc., earth. It's the mindfulness of body, first foundation of mindfulness, of feeling, letting the body remember its weightedness, its gravity. Because so much in this system anyways, there's often an up and out of that lifted and forward and And any tension, stress, mm, nervous system activation can contract us in and up, like the belly kind of pulls in and up, and the muscles pull in and tighten up. And so remembering back and feeling down reminds the muscles to lengthen and soften, and the bones have their own weight. The flesh has a weightedness that I often need to be reminded of, and feeling the physical touch points, the pressure points, the contact, the textures, and the relationship with the earth. That it's not just me feeling grounded, but there's a relationship of earth or ground or mm, and body that is just nature. Yeah, reminds me of the elements. Uh, and so back and down are two helpful touch points, reminders in daily life, but also in a meditation practice. And then the other directions I want to talk about are these kind of horizontal line of what we might think of as past and future, and how we can open to noticing felt experience and just the knowing of when we're being pulled into past and reinventing and I was going to say reliving past, rehashing, but it isn't really because we put our spin on it. We focus on certain parts, or we obsess about certain things and we just keep going over it and over it. The central character is always ourselves. And yeah, so it's this feeling of this boundless timeline of past and future, where we could imagine and project and fantasize about endless future possibilities and imaginings. And these can be known in our meditation practice, but also in daily life to feel and to watch the mind states of being caught in rumination over past things, or this restlessness. This is the hindrance of restlessness and remorse, of always planning what's next, or what we're going to say next, what we're going to do next, who we're going to become next, um, and all the infinite variables there. And sometimes we talk about the present moment as being kind of a center point, mm, in some sort of a continuum of, where past and present are on this horizontal line, past and future, pardon me, on this horizontal line, and present moment kind of being this still point or something in the center of that. And I was reading Rodney Smith's book, Stepping Out of Self-Deception, which is an excellent book. Stepping Out of Self-Deception, the Buddha's liberating teaching on no self or not self, anatta. And he describes that horizontal direction or perspective, with the present moment. He describes it as being squeezed between the rock of the past and the hard place of the future. It's really good. Um, and how, where's his other part here? Yeah, that kind of present moment in a context of past and future is the horizontal world of conditioning, of being time driven, labor intensive, um, that kind of referencing of past and future. It's composed and driven by these concepts of time. And then he talks about what he calls the 0 point. So a vertical line that bisects this horizontal line, so an up and down or vertical line that is representing or an image or felt experience of openness, spaciousness, boundlessness. The unconditioned is another name for this, timelessness, and how that, so that vertical line, when it bisects the horizontal line, that 0 point present moment is a timeless one. It's not one where we're kind of fighting against past and future ideas, but it's a felt experience of embodiment of, but that is also vast and boundless and spacious. And so I was finding these cues helpful for myself, back and down, and in that centered present momentness, allowing the knowing and feeling when we're pulled into past ruminating. You can feel it in your mind, in the body, in your energy, or when we're pulled into future imaginings and planning and that kind of restlessness. That's a common tendency of this conditioned body mind. Uh, and for me, I feel like I've vacated myself, I've abandoned ship, and I'm actually like out here somewhere. It always feels like it's kind of on the right and forward and out. And I don't know when that's happening, but you can feel the coming back. When awareness knows, oh, uh, not present, there's this feeling of, oh, coming back and down. And then when we have some stability and some time in that embodied presentness, feeling ourselves pushed and pulled into past and futuring, then we might be able to open into this vertical present moment that is spacious, boundless, interconnected, compassionate. All the heart qualities are part of the characteristics of that present momentness. Yeah. So I'd like to explore that as touch points for our meditation tonight. And maybe some of them will also land for you as guides in your practice or in your daily life. Just remembering, maybe even just backing down is enough. And also, even in our daily life, we can notice, oh, I'm really hooked on something that's happened and keep going over it and over it. Or I'm really projecting and planning and ruminating over something I imagine for in some possible future. And we can know that in daily life. And with that little step back, that little mm, awake awareness of knowing, we can open into a compassionate response, into a this kind of vertical access, present moment. I hope that makes some sense to you. We'll see how it feels as a practice. So let's adjust our posture and space for practice. I'm just going to mute for a second and have a drink of water. Hmm. Okay. Um, and I just changed my mind in this present moment because I wanted to share this story that Rodney Smith shares in this chapter. He says the following story illustrates one of these precious moments of this that 0 point present moment. He says Sharon, a sister of a friend of mine, tried her entire married life to have a child, but was unable to conceive. Much to her delight, at the age of 42, Sharon became pregnant. A few months into her pregnancy, she started complaining of pain in her abdomen and went to a physician and was diagnosed with end-stage liver cancer. The physician suggested surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, all of which Sharon refused for fear of damaging the fetus. Without treatment, she was given a prognosis of a few months. A healthy boy was born on time to the dying mother. And my friend said that Sharon did not miss a breath of her child's life and died 3 months after the child was born. Sharon was not willing to deny the intersection of the two dimensions where her life could truly meet the life of her child. She couldn't invest in the future because it was uncertain. Instead, she chose to dwell in the only reality that she could hold and her child, that could hold her and her child, the immediate present. And once Sharon gave herself over to living at the 0 point of this axis, she and her child could dwell for eternity in the infinite now of time. So adjusting your posture if you need that. Seeing if you need any other movements or supports. Seeing if a few sighing breaths feels helpful to release any tension that might not be needed right now. And inviting in this cue, if it's helpful to you, of resting back. And notice if that feels like a physical adjustment. If the shoulders make a little micro adjustment back, or the head. Or you might physically feel more sensation the back of the body or the area of the spine, the back of the skull, back of the hips. For me, part of this felt experience of remembering and feeling this cue of resting back is resting back into the uprightness and the support of our sila, our values, our ethics. So you might take some time to reflect on what is the source of your uprightness? It may be the five lay precepts that we practice of these trainings to refrain from causing harm, to refrain from taking more than is freely given, to refrain from speaking falsely and harshly, the training to refrain from causing harm with our sexuality and sensuality, and the training to refrain from heedlessness or a lack of mindfulness caused by intoxication. Take some time to feel this felt embodied experience of resting back. And feeling the embodied sensation of resting down. Muscles of the face softening and letting go of outward expression. The weight of the jawbone resting down. Shoulder bones sliding down. Feeling the weight of the hips and the touch point of the legs and feet. In relationship with the earth. Groundedness, weightedness, presence. As we rest back and down, in the center of present moment, to feel it as a felt sensation when mind or energy awareness is pulled into past or future. This might show up as ruminating over something that has happened and going over it, or reinventing, or planning into future imaginings. Can be helpful to have a touch point of where we're returning to in present moment. So for some people, that's the felt experience of the breath arising and passing. Or you could, for the practice tonight, just use that touch point of the body with ground. Maybe the touch of hands on the lap or feet. Or just the whole body in this felt experience of back and down. So that in the moments of beginning again, we know what we're beginning again with, present moment embodied. And as we perhaps feel some stability of presence embodied, remembering we might open to this vertical access that is open, spacious, timeless, boundless, unconditioned, beyond concepts. Thing is ever outside of this 0 point, this presentness. This vertical universe is always abiding and never moves. Things move within it, but it doesn't move. It's boundless. Be able to connect to this felt experience simply by feeling the space around you in the room that you're in, or by connecting to boundless compassion for all beings. Open and expansive, infinite, encompassing all things. That feels a little bit untethered or disconnected from this embodied present moment, you can just begin again and rest back and down so that we're not vacating ourselves or tripping out. We're staying awake and aware and open and spacious. Down, horizontal and vertical, a plumb line to the center, plumb line to present moment. These last few minutes, drop in the knowing that there is not even a present moment. There's no thing that could be taken up as a moment. It's just a constant, open, awake, aware, flowing. We hear these three ringing of the bell and follow the sound to the end of the third vibration, feeling it as an embodied felt experience in centered moment, in vertical, open, boundless vibration. I think that's all. So check the link below. I'll put the link to this book that I mentioned, Rodney Smith's book, Stepping Out of Self-Deception, and a link for the New Year's retreat. Maybe that will work for you to join us. And I'll be here, all being well. Who knows? I intend to be here next week. And then we'll resume again January 8th, because I'll be on retreat. All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good night.